What I want to really focus on and also take away here when we apply it to astrology is that you can't escape growing up. It is a vital part of evolution. It's like when we think of Saturn and all that Saturn represents, which it does correspond to old age. Think of our responsibilities, right? You get older, you want to start to drive. A car is a responsibility. It's like, hey, okay, I can teach you how to drive, Mercury, but you're gonna have to accumulate some form of plan, Saturn, to maintain having a car, buying it, insurance, all of that. That's the reality of what it entails. I believe that right now we are seeing the reality of Lil Wayne's evolution to this point, or rather what he's willing to show or express. Because when we get what's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Today, we'll be discussing Lil Wayne and why astrology explains exactly why he's being dragged right now. So let's get into it. All right, party people. So Lil Wayne, Dwayne Carter, has just released his latest album, The Carter 6. And I'm a millennial. He was a major influence in my upcoming, so I have a lot to say about this. But I also feel like this topic really can show us so much about life, psychology, energy, and more importantly, like astrology. If you were in high school between 2005 and 2010 and you experienced the Lil Wayne movement, please drop a comment, let me know how that was. And yeah, it really was a time. I gotta say, I have a special place in my heart specifically for Wayne because he was the soundtrack to my formative years. And it's just, it's a different relationship that I have with Kendrick Cole and Drake. But I'll say this, listening to the Carter 6, I'm getting deeper in the game, just like many of you. Listening to the Carter 6 made me feel like I was in a movie parody. You know when you're watching a movie and it's that classic trope of the classic artist who is like now in their fall off or decline, but they may still be holding on? That's exactly what the Carter 6 felt like. Because when you do a series, right, whether it be any type of body of work, a series tells a story. The Carter series is like a different chapter of different parts of his life. And for the most part, you know, it reflects where you are, what's on your mind, politically, emotionally, all of that. But here on the Carter 6, we hear Wayne very sounding uninspired. And frankly, let's just get to the chase. Everyone is underwhelmed with Wayne's music right now, not because it's sonically bad or he can't rap. It's rather simple. He's an artist. And realistically, artists at some point have to dig into some type of emotion, right? And I'm not specifying that this has to be sad emotion. It can be whatever emotion. The audience just needs to be able to feel what that intention or that emotion is. What we have here on this album is someone who seems to be just going through the motions, not really having a direction. It brings me to my next point that I think we have to address and understand here. We look at things in a deeper way. It's not stated enough that Lil Wayne is a child prodigy. He has never done anything outside of the realm of music for a profession. This has been his whole life since, I believe, 10, 11 years old. So you got to understand there's a psychological element here that is at play. Some would call it arrested development, where you can become subconsciously stuck within an age or a time period. And cutting further to the point, throughout the years, Lil Wayne has shown us that he truly lives in his own world. When there are certain things going on in the world, he's said that, like, oh, I wasn't informed of that. I'm always at the studio. And to be real with you, that's very true. And it's even reflective in this work. Just want to give y'all a reminder. I recently released my first ebook. It's called The Venus Codes, The Art of Love, Wealth, and Magnetic Attraction. It's really good, y'all. It's my first attempt at providing exercises and journal prompts. It's kind of like a workbook. So I got it on sale right now at GeminiBrown.com. I'd love for you to check it out. Support if you want to donate to the channel. Click the link below. Give me a like. Drop a comment. Till next time. My feelings here upon listening to Wayne's album is that, like, yeah, you're not acting your age, or rather, I want to, through the music, I should say, you're not expressing the depth of your life through your art. You seem to be trying to recreate the same fire or use the same formula from maybe 15 years ago, and that can't occur. It's a very interesting thing here, because what I feel here is like, oh my God, Wayne helped us like grow up, and like we've kind of surpassed him in a certain lifestyle way, because a lot of us are looking to hear something different because we're going through different things in our lives. And with the sad part about like money and power is that once you obtain that, it's up to you to make the effort to consciously keep growing, because sadly you're going to naturally have people around you who kind of just enable you being more of who you are, and that doesn't always mean evolving past who you are. So what I want to really focus on and also take away here when we apply it to astrology is that you can't escape growing up. It is a vital part of evolution. It's like when we think of Saturn and all that Saturn represents, which it does correspond to old age. Think of our responsibilities, right? You get older, you want to start to drive. A car is a responsibility. It's like, hey, okay, I can teach you how to drive, Mercury, but you're going to have to accumulate some form of plan, Saturn, to maintain having a car. Buying it, insurance, all of that. That's the reality of what it entails. I believe that right now we are seeing the reality of Lil Wayne's evolution to this point, or rather what he's willing to show or express. Because when we get to his chart, his North Node, Lil Wayne's North Node is in the sign of Cancer. And that North Node is deposited in Aquarius. Lil Wayne is a Libra sun, moon in Aquarius. And that is quite a detached combination there. And they're in harmony. And to some extent, this is one of the factors that enables him to live in his own world. Then he's got this Saturn, Pluto in Libra conjunction, which we're going to talk more about in a second, that is responsible for him being able to garner this power and this influence. Okay, but going back to his North Node, the North Node says that in this life, you're going to establish roots, i.e. having children. You're going to take pride in where you're from. We've seen that, with his New Orleans and, so many other things. Reading in between the lines a little bit, some power that has come from his Aquarius North Node overlay is what he's created, within Young Money. He's made those not traditionally family much of his family. And anybody who's been around Wayne will tell you he's very generous, kind, and he, as an executive, he's done a lot for his artists. He gave birth to possibly the greatest female, selling artist, as well as Drizzy Drake. And that's big, man. That's big. So you have all those factors that he's born with, right? But here's the deeper part of the North Node, right? There's an emotional aspect. Family is meant to put you more emotionally in tune. But at some point, you gotta feel. You gotta sit with the emotions. You have to process. You have to let them work through you. You have to let them. And in assessing Lil Wayne's natal chart, I think that might be difficult, okay? Because not only is he that Aquarius moon, but then he has Venus in Virgo, which those two signs together, that's emotional awkwardness. So this is someone who can verbally express very well and articulate, but feeling, oh, that's a whole different story. To understand why he's being dragged right now, we have to zoom into his progress chart. Wayne is 42 years old. And, with that being said, I think a lot of people also overlook that. We see that, he has children. No, he has like grown-ass children. In a couple of years, Wayne can become like a full-on grandfather. Shit he could do right now because his oldest is very much of age. But yeah, this is someone who's been out here. But his whole outward aesthetic may not allow you to see that. So when we go to the progress chart, it's so interesting right now. A lot of his Libra energy is progressed into Scorpio. And this progressed Scorpio energy, we have the sun, we have Venus, and we have Jupiter all conjunct here in Scorpio, which there's so much to this, y'all. From a mystical lens, there's a lot to this because it's not always all good and it ain't always all bad. But I can tell you the presence of a Scorpio stellium right now, there's a fight going on. There's a fight on a spiritual level, right? Because remember, we always could be who we are and we're allowed to be that. But at some point, we got to put particular selves to bed. Certain cycles got to go. So I think overall, one of the things, we surmise that, Lil Wayne has, his problems with addictions and stuff like that. And I think very much so a lot of this Scorpio current stellium represents that, the battle of trying to embody your higher self. But then we come to the progressed moon, which I told you, because his North Node is in Cancer, that becomes, so more important, okay? So his North Node, so his progressed moon right now is in the sign of Leo, exactly squaring all of this Scorpio energy. But we also got to go and we got to look at the exact conjunction happening between his natal Pluto and natal Saturn, which is big. They are exactly conjunct right now. They are at high degrees. And all of this mixed together is asking him to create a new persona, go to that next level of life, which is about embodying more of your North Node. Now, when we go back to this album, I do want to note that he has his sons featured on this album. He has empowered his kids greatly and all of that. Okay? So we see shades of the energy is always playing out. What I surmise is that there's an energetic imbalance occurring here where the old identity is holding on for dear fucking life. And that's why we keep getting the pussy bars and what we're used to, which we're not mad at, but we need to feel growth. Okay, which it all comes back to like vulnerability. And at this point, this is the moon in Leo. It's asking you to change your inner ego, turn over a new leaf, right? Find pride in a new area of being and in life. And in here, this is the wake-up call. This is the wake-up call for your career. Okay? But like I said, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot more. It's never as simple. But this square shows this disconnect with the audience. The audience is like, what the fuck is this? Who the fuck is this? This is someone going through transition right now and change. So I ain't bashing this, man. You know, I wanted to approach this topic with raw honesty and, you know, put this into the ethers, and even on a spiritual level, knowing that this energy, you know, will reach where it's supposed to. So this, in closing, I just want to preach here that growing up is sexy. Like, responsibility is sexy. It can be exciting. It's necessary. Like, we all have to embrace getting older. And one thing I love with the hip hop generation, who many of which are in their 50s and continually turning 50, is that they are already redefining, let's say, on a stylistic and on a mental level, what it is to age. So we're being allowed to age gracefully with hip hop, y'all. But at the same time, we still gotta tend to the things in the matrix or the outer world that needs to be tended to, the Saturn-like things which can never be escaped. So I encourage anybody out there, if you feel like you may be at any age, and depending on your upbringing, dynamics in your chart, you can fall into arrested development. It's just really about consciously recognizing and being aware of this, okay? So like I said, yo, beat up the comments. Let's really like talk about this. If you listen to the album, let me know, you know, your overall thoughts. Have you struggled with, you know, getting older, embracing certain things? But yeah, feel free to check out my website. I got the Venus codes, as I told y'all before, as well as other services on sale. I'd love to connect with you. Subscribe to my channel, hit that like button. Till next time.